Hi there, Rayanne at Trailblazer RV here. I'm here today to take you through a new RV orientation on a Connect 241 BHSE. We're going to start here at the front of the trailer. First, we have your propane system. This unit is equipped with two 20-pound bottles and also an auto changeover regulator. Now, the function of the auto changeover regulator is to allow you to draw propane off of the system using both bottles while still being able to remove one bottle to refill if necessary. So when you turn the propane bottles on, there's a sight glass in this regulator that's going to turn from red to clear. Once the supply bottle, which is indicated by this handle, has depleted, that sight glass is going to change back to red, indicating that that bottle is empty. However, this regulator is automatically going to start drawing off of this tank. When that happens, you can remove this bottle, switch the regulator over to this tank. The sight glass is going to change back to clear, and then remove this tank and take it to get it filled without ever having to shut down your propane system. Behind that is your battery. This unit is equipped with a 24 series 12-volt battery. Simple wiring on this. The positive post is connected with a red wire and the negative post is connected with the black wire. This is a flooded lead acid battery, so there is some maintenance you need to do. We recommend a couple times a year just popping these two caps off. In those caps, you're going to see 6 cells that have the battery acid and water and some metal plates in there. As that water level starts to go down, we recommend you top up the cells with distilled water, usually at least a couple times a year, and then put a good charge on them just to keep those batteries in good working order. Behind that, this unit also has a battery disconnect switch. In the red position, obviously, to be disconnected, and green to turn the power to the trailer on. Also, power front jack here. There's an on-off switch on the left side. Contrary to popular belief, that is just for a light. It's not the on-off switch for the jack. To run the jack, they're just up and down on the right side here. Also note it does have a inline fuse, so if you're having issues with that jack, this will be your first place to check. If you ever do lose power, in the front compartment there is also a manual crank for this jack. To use that, you just remove this cap, put the crank in, and you can crank this jack up or down. Always make sure to replace the cap, as it is part of the seal to keep that jack from getting water in the motor. Also in this compartment, you're going to find your power cord. This is a 30 amp trailer, so it comes with a 30 amp cord, as well as a 15 amp adapter if you only have household power to hook up to. Right here we have your fresh water system. So we've got your fresh tank fill if you want to fill your holding tank and carry the water with you, or we have your city water connection. If you're filling the fresh tank, we recommend you use a drinking water safe hose as well as a tank filler hose. What the tank filler is going to do is make it a little bit easier to put the hose in here. It's going to stay in rather than try and fall out as the water is filling. And what the drinking water safe hose does is it helps to eliminate that rubbery plastic hose taste that you're going to get in the water. When you're hooking up to city water, just twist the end of the hose on here. But when you're hooked up to city water, we recommend you use a water pressure regulator. The systems in this RV are only rated for 45 to 50 psi of water pressure, and a lot of campgrounds, golf courses, that sort of thing, their water pressure is higher than that. So if you use a water pressure regulator, it's going to help keep that pressure constant and keep leaks from forming in your water system. Right below those, you're going to find your fresh tank drain. This blue line coming down out of the underbelly, and you'll see it's got a valve on there. Right now this valve is open, indicating that the tank has drained. To fill your fresh tank, you just go ahead and close that valve, and the tank will fill. We're gonna leave it open so we can be sure that there's no water in the tank right now. Just ahead of that is your stabilizer jacks. Important to note that these are for stabilizing the unit only, not for leveling or lifting the trailer. Once you have run them down just so they're snug with the ground, and then maybe give them a little bit more of a turn just to tighten it up, just to keep the unit stable. Do not try to lift the trailer with these jacks, as you will cause damage to them. Back here you have a black tank flush. Now it looks like the city water, but do not confuse this with the city water. What this inlet does is sprays fresh water into the inside of the black tank while you're dumping the tank to help clean out any solids that may be stuck along the wall. When you are using the black tank flush, make sure that the valve is open. If the black tank drain valve is not open while you're using it, you're going to pressurize that tank and cause a lot of mess inside the unit. To find that black tank drain valve, you just need to go straight down from there. So you'll see here, we've got your black tank valve here has the black handle, the gray tank has the gray handle. Always make sure to pull and dump the black tank first. Once that has finished draining, you can close the black tank handle and open the gray tank. What that's going to do is help clean out any residue that may still be in the pipe or in your hose from dumping. That's going to make cleanup for that a little bit nicer. We have supplied a sewer hose for you. It's a medium heavy duty 20-foot hose. It's just stored inside the bumper here. This unit does come with a spare tire, but it's important to note that the trailer, and no trailer actually, comes with a jack or a tire wrench. Generally, the jack in the tow vehicle will be more than enough to lift the trailer, but the tire wrench may not necessarily be the right size, so it's always a good idea to either find out what that size is or just carry a star wrench with you in case you ever need to change a tire. Next to that is your water heater. So this is a propane electric water heater. So what that means is it will run off either gas or electricity. If you are going to run it off electricity, it's important to note that there is a button down here at the bottom, an on-off switch. To run it on electricity, that button needs to be in the on position. That's going to turn on the power to your electric element. We're going to leave it in off just to help eliminate the possibility of ever dry firing this tank without water in it, because if you do that in the electric mode, it is likely to burn out the element. The other thing that could happen if you dry fire the tank is you can trip these resets. They're overheat resets, and if you do try to start the water heater without water in it, it's likely that these will trip. To reset them, just push the buttons in. You should, if they are tripped, you should feel the button and you'll feel a slight click when it goes in. The left side is for the electric and the right side is for the propane. Last thing in the water heater to be aware of is the anode rod. If you pull this plug out, you're going to find a rod about this long. This is the sacrificial anode, and what happens is the minerals and impurities in the water are going to eat away at this rod rather than damaging the lining of the tank. Once this rod has gotten down to anywhere along it that the center steel core, about the thickness of a pen, once any of that is visible, then it's time to replace the rod. Keep in mind that it will start to look very pitted and corroded over time. That is perfectly normal, nothing to worry about until that center rod is showing. Usually, depending on the type of water you get in, you should get 2 to 3 years out of an anode rod pretty easy though. Around this side, this unit does have a power awning. Switch inside to run the awning in and out. Also does have lights on a switch. Just important to note that you need to make sure to have the lights off if the awning is running, just to eliminate the possibility of them getting a little bit hot and causing burn marks on the awning. This awning is, however, adjustable. We recommend just dropping one corner of the awning while it's out and you're using it, just to allow rainwater to run off. This way you have a little bit more control where the water goes, and it's going to keep the awning fabric from getting too much weight on it and starting to sag. It's just important to remember to put it back to level before you run the awning back in. This unit is equipped with a dry outside kitchen. So that means there's no water in it, but there is a fridge that works off 110 only, so only if you're plugged in, as well as a grill. Now this grill connects to a quick connect under the unit. You'll find your connections for this unit right at the very back corner here. You've got two ports. To connect a quick connect, you take the flared end. On the connection, you're going to pull back the ring, slide the end in there, and pull it forward to lock. There we go. These quick connects also have a valve on the bottom. You'll need to turn them into the open position to allow the gas to flow. Once you're done using it, you can go ahead and shut the valve off, and to release, again, just pull back and pull the connection out. It's going to be the same idea on the bottom of the stove, except for the opposite end. You're going to have the end with the valve, pull the connection back, slide it onto the end, pull the clip forward, and open the valve. Just make sure to take the hose off before you close the stove back up, just to keep it from getting damaged. Also of note on this trailer, this is your furnace vent on the camping side. Nothing really you need to do here, but just be aware that when the furnace is on, this vent is going to get extremely hot. When it's on the camping side, we always like to warn people that this is hot. If you have young kids or that sort of thing, they need to be aware that they need to be careful about this, because we don't want anyone to get burned. Maintenance point on the trailer is your tires and running gear. These tires are filled to 65 PSI, so it's important before a long trip to check the tire pressure, make sure it's good. Also, the lug nuts torqued to 100 foot-pounds. And again, not a bad idea before a long trip to retorque those, just to make sure they're tight. If you don't have a torque wrench, just get on there and make sure they're nice and snug. Also important at the wheels is the wheel bearings do need to be repacked every 8,000 to 10,000 kilometers. This unit does have easy lube axles where you can just pop this cap off and put a little bit of grease in there to prolong the length of time you need to go between lubing axles. But we don't recommend you do that often. We often see people overpack these bearings, which can cause more problems than it does good. This unit comes equipped with the solid step. Very easy to operate this step. To fold it up, you just lift this step and push until it locks into place. I like to give it a nice tug just to make sure it's secure. To release, all you do is pull the yellow handle to the side and swap it down. It is important to make sure that the door is open all the way while you're doing this, just so that the hardware on the step can clear. Now follow me inside the unit. So right inside the door, you're going to find your main control panel for the majority of the functions in the trailer. You see on here, I mentioned the awning light. It does have a lighted switch on it. So again, just if you're not using the awning, make sure that switch is in the off position. Up here, you're also going to find your controls for the water heater. So right here is your electric water heater. Like I had mentioned before, to use the electric water heater, turn this bottom water heater switch on, as well as the on-off switch on the outside of the water heater. To run the water heater on propane, you turn the top water heater switch on. When you turn it on, this fault light's gonna come on. That light comes on to tell you that the water heater has not lit. We're gonna give a couple minutes here, or a couple seconds. We're gonna hear a ticking, and the water heater lights, and that light will go out. Now this one, this unit, we've just turned the propane on, so you need to purge a little bit of the air out of the system. This water heater will try 3 times before this switch needs to be shut off and it needs to be reset. If you find you're having a difficult time purging the air from the propane system, your best bet is to turn on the stove and let some air flow through it that way. Just gonna let it go through its 3rd attempt here. There we go, I just heard it light. So it tried the 3 times, finally got the air bubble out of the system, and now the water heater is running and the fault light is off. Also here is the control for your water pump. If you have filled your fresh tank, also on a lighted switch just to make it easy to tell when the water pump is on. You also have your tank monitors here. So it monitors your fresh tank, which is currently empty, your black, which is apparently reading full. We'll pull that valve later. Oh no, sorry, that's the battery. So your battery is charging because we're plugged in. Your black and your gray tanks. Now this unit has black and gray 2 on the monitor panel. In this unit, those 2 tanks are not used. There isn't the second tank. That's just a generic panel that they use on everything. Also just your slide and awning controls here. Easy operation on both. Extend to go out, retract to go in. So over here at the stove, this is a easy to operate stove. It has piezo ignition. So to light the stove, you just turn each burner to the ignite button. Turn the piezo. You'll see all 3 burners have lit. You can adjust the temperature from there. And then there's the oven. Now the oven is the only pilot light in this unit. So to light the pilot light, you need to find the oven knob, which is this one, push in and turn to the little flame icon. And while holding that knob in, take your barbecue lighter and hold it at the end of the thermocouple over here. You're gonna hold it there just until you see a flame. Then you can move your lighter away while continuing to hold the button. Wait 10-15 seconds just to let it heat up. At that point, you can turn the oven to whichever temperature you wish to set it at. When you're done using it, you can just turn the oven back to off and you can relight the pilot the next time you go to use it. Also fancy lights on there, if you so desire to have fancy lights. Next to that is the fridge. Simple operation on the fridge, just push the button here to turn it on and off. This fridge will work in 3 modes. There's automatic, electric, or propane. We recommend leaving it in automatic mode. What that's going to do is it will automatically run off electricity if you're plugged into a power source. But if you happen to lose that power source, it's going to switch over to propane mode and continue to run so that you don't lose any of your food. It stays nice and cold in there. You can change the mode to run on strictly either electric or propane, but there are very few situations where you would want to switch it out of automatic mode. That's usually the safest place to leave it. You can also adjust the temperature from anywhere between 1 to 5 snowflakes. We like to start it at 3. You can adjust that as necessary for where you're comfortable leaving the fridge. To turn it off, you just push and hold the power button again for about 3 seconds, and it's all gonna go off. Down here we have your converter. This is the main power center for the unit. This is where all of your fuses for your 12-volt circuits and your breakers for your 120-volt circuits are. This converter has 15 and 40 amp fuses. It's not uncommon for fuses to blow in a RV, so we recommend carrying a few spares, and in your case you'll need 15 and 40 amp fuses. Over on this side we have your propane and carbon monoxide alarm. This alarm will go off in 3 situations. First, if there is a propane leak, which you will likely also smell. It will go off if there's a carbon monoxide situation, which does not have an odor, so that needs to be paid attention to. Or the third time it will go off is if the battery in the RV is getting low. There is a distinct difference between the alarm tone and also the low battery tone. The alarm tone will be a very quick tone, and the low battery will be a slower beep with more spacing between each beep. But it is something to be very aware and respectful of, is this detector if it ever goes off. In the bathroom, when using the RV toilet, it's very important to only use RV toilet paper and also the proper holding tank chemicals. After every time you dump the black holding tank, you need to recharge the system with new chemical, which comes in either liquid, powder, or tablet forms. Whatever you're more comfortable using is fine. Just drop 1 charge of the chemical into the toilet. Depress the pedal halfway to fill the bowl with water. Once that's full, you can flush it all the way down, which will recharge the holding tank for the next use. Also in the bathroom is the GFCI, the ground fault circuit interrupter outlet. It's very similar to the one you have in your bathroom with the test at home, with the test and reset lights on it. The only difference is in an RV, the majority of the outlets are all hooked into that same circuit. So if you're plugged into power and you find that your outlets aren't working, it's likely that this GFI has tripped. You just need to come in, push the reset button, that green light will come back on, and you should be good to go again. See if I missed that anymore. So to control your furnace and air conditioner in the unit, your thermostat is tucked a little bit behind the TV here. So to control the furnace, turn it to heat mode. We always recommend leaving the fan in auto. Otherwise, if you turn it to on, when you turn the furnace on, you're gonna find your air conditioner also wants to come on, which isn't helpful. So you can control the temperature here. When you turn the furnace on, the fan's gonna come on and run for a few seconds before it tries to ignite. It's just trying to ignite now. You can hear it's lit. But it's gonna run through that purge cycle to purge any old air out of the furnace to get it ready for the next cycle. Once we turn the furnace off, it's gonna do the same thing. Run through that cycle for 30 seconds to a minute just to finish purging the cycle. However, the burner does go out immediately. Just give it a second to run through it, finish through its purge cycle there. The other thing, this also controls your air conditioner. So if you turn it to cool mode and turn it all the way down, we're cold enough in here, it's not going to turn on for us. But to operate your air conditioner, just turn it to cool. Again, you can select high or low fan. However, the air conditioner is just going to run at the 1 speed. If you just want to get airflow, you can move to fan. You're going to hear the fan kicks on because it's not thermostat dependent. And then from there, you can select high or low. Again, that's only going to work if you're plugged in. It's a 110 appliance only. In the bedroom, there is a second TV location here if you wish to add a second TV. Just take note that the backer location, the backer in there is going to be a steel plate. So if you are looking to find that plate and add the second TV, we just recommend you use a magnet to find that location, because the sticker is not always necessarily in the middle of that backer. And I think that pretty much concludes it for the Connect 241. If you have any other questions, feel free to contact us here at Trailblazer RV, or you can check us out online at www.trailblazerrv.com. Thank you.